got me shook from the way your body looks. Got me riding hooks, got me feeling like a rook. I don't do it by the book, but for you I'll take a look. Don't know what your mama took, sweet and spicy like a cook, yeah. I'll keep it real, let's make a deal. Buy you a meal if you just let me feel. Get out your heels, grab on the wheel. Back to my place at the top of the hill. Don't have regrets, I know what's next. She need a fresh, I'll be back in a sec. Look at them legs, don't make me beg. Back to the room, let me show you my bed. Touching on your body feels like taking on a drug. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Everything you do, I can't seem to get enough. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Touching on your body feels like taking on a drug. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Everything you do, I can't seem to get enough. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. I could look at you all day, watch the way them hips sway. Love your body, so I pray, don't you dare take it away. Can't control what I say, lost my mind cause your frame. Hey girl, what's your name? Lit me up just like a flame. Body in motion, I feel the commotion, be on you like lotion. I'm honest and broken, I flow like the ocean. I feel you were chosen to fix me, I'm broken. My heart that you stolen, hey. Stay with me, play with me, lay with me. Hate to see when you leave, chemistry feels like it's destiny. I just want you laying next to me, and I really don't want you to ever leave. On your body feels like taking on a drug. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Everything you do, I can't seem to get enough. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Touching on your body feels like taking on a drug. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Everything you do, I can't seem to get enough. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb.
Close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. See the horizon turn us to thousands, and we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon turn us to thousands. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to the NEXXTCAR Racing League here on iRacing. Tonight, the NEXXTCAR Truck Series heads to the 2.66 mile track that requires just 4 letters for its name to know what lies ahead. This is Dega. Tonight, the NEXXTCAR Truck Series heads to the high banks of Talladega Superspeedway for its second race in the championship for Season 3. Just 2 more races await these drivers to determine who will be your Season 3 champion. Next week is Phoenix, but these drivers have a lot to worry about this week, and it all starts right here, right now, and the biggest threat of all, the big one. The big one, the thing that all drivers fear while racing here. It can change the entire outcome of the race. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of when and where. These drivers are going to have their hands full tonight around this 2.66 mile track and its 33-degree banking. This is the NEXXTCAR Truck Series, and this is Dega.
It has to happen. Gotta prove myself. It has to happen like this, like this. You're going up against the greatest, and it's gonna get messy. If you wanna try to test me, you're going up against the greatest. Take a swing, you're gonna miss me. Yeah, it's going down in history. I'm the greatest, I'm the greatest, I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest, I'm the greatest, I'm the greatest.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to the NEXXTCAR Racing League here on iRacing. And man, if you have missed the last couple weeks, well, you have missed some key news here in the NEXXTCAR Racing League. Well, the season that was supposed to be the longest season ever in NEXXTCAR history, it's still going to be the longest, but it has been shortened 5 weeks as the turnout has not been exactly what was needed. So we have decided to do a 3-race shootout to determine your champion here in Season 3 for the Truck Series and Cup Series. And then on the Xfinity side of things, well, we decided to shut that side of the business down for the time being and just focus on the Truck Series and Cup Series. So if you guys are watching and you guys are interested in joining the NEXXTCAR Racing League, go ahead and reach out to myself or Nick Trudeau, and we will get you guys headed in the right direction to get you guys into the league. But tonight is the second race of the Season 3 playoffs for the bid for the championship here in Season 3. And these drivers have a huge task at hand tonight when it comes to the 2.66 mile with the 33-degree banking of Talladega Superspeedway. We mentioned it, the big one. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of when and where. When's it going to happen? Well, that's the question all drivers want to know, and where. Is it going to be at the front of the pack? Is it going to be at the back of the pack? Here at Talladega, it's wide and it's bad fast, and you are not safe anywhere. Just ask some of the best in the business when it comes to the NEXXTCAR Superspeedway Racing. Steve can tell you all about it. Steve Bocock, that is one of the absolute best in the business when it comes to Talladega. Finds himself in the right places at the wrong time, and it will definitely be the thing that will end your race and your bid for the Season 3 championship. So these drivers have got a lot to worry about tonight. As you can see, we are still in practice. Let's go ahead and get your tower up for your practice session. These drivers have just over 6 minutes left, 6 minutes and 15 seconds to be exact, here in practice before we head on over to qualifying. You can see Nicholas Don Francisco right now is going to be leading the way with a 51.75 second lap, with Larson, Cole Larson that is, right behind him in second with a 51.77, tied exactly with Brandon Dunford in that number 9. Chandler's going to round out your top 5, and then right now Andrew Bolander is going to be wrapping out the field in that 15th position with a 1 minute and 5 second lap. So Andrew, gas pedals on the right, buddy. You might want to find it before we head into qualifying. But right now these guys have just about 5.5 minutes left, as you're going to see the big one happen here on the backstretch heading into turn number 3 for the practice session. And they're going to continue wrecking. But yeah, these drivers have got a tall task on hand tonight. Talladega, it's wide. You can go 3 wide. You can go 4 wide, maybe even 5 wide if the circumstances call for it, if coming to the checkered flag here. And to make things interesting, well, this is not like Daytona. The start-finish line is not in the middle of the tri-oval. It is 2,000 feet past it, and that can be the difference maker in whether you're heading to victory lane or walking with your head low. And these drivers, there can only be one winner tonight, and you have got 19 drivers looking to find their way to victory lane tonight. I mentioned it. One of the best in the business when it comes to super speedway racing has made his way to the track, and that is Steve Bocock. If you guys remember back to season 2 in Speed Weeks, he swept it for the Truck Series and Cup Series, but when it came to the Daytona races to start out season 2, well, it was anything than what Steve wanted. Looking for a little bit of redemption here tonight. Daytona did not really go his way either, so looking to try to get a little bit of redemption here tonight, and what could be the biggest win of his season, and what would be his first win ever in NEXXTCAR. And that could just put his name at the top of the list here with just 2 races left. Next week's Phoenix, that's it for season 3. So the time for these drivers to rise and shine is slowly dwindling down. Can Steve finally find his way to victory lane here at the end of 90 laps tonight? He's going to have a lot of obstacles to overcome. Not just the other 18 drivers out there on the track, but we mentioned it, the big one, the elements as well. That is going to be very huge tonight. Let's go ahead and get your track weather up tonight. So far, 73 degrees Fahrenheit, but the track temp 120 degrees. When you mix that in with super speedway racing, the trucks are already on edge. Well, tonight, these trucks are going to be slipping and sliding everywhere, because when that track temp is up, well, those tires are screaming. There's no grip out there, and these drivers are going to be slipping and sliding everywhere. So that is going to throw another wrench in a lot of plans tonight. And what that usually means for us is some really exciting racing here. But let's go ahead and get your tower back up here. And you can see Don Francisco, Larson, Dunford, Henning, and Chandler currently rounding out your top 5. 2 minutes and 50 seconds left here in practice for these guys. Now Jester rounding out the field in 17th with a minute 8 second. Jester, couple of news for some of these guys. Let's start up at the very top, running in that 4th position right now. Stephen Henning currently sitting on pit road. Henning has announced that this will be his last season in the NEXXTCAR Racing League. So he's got 2 more races left with us, and then we unfortunately have to bid farewell to Henning. And then down there at the bottom in 17th, Camden Jester in that 21 here in this gaggle formation at the start-finish line has announced that he will be going full-time racing next season in both the Cup Series and Truck Series. So Camden Jester will find himself on a full-time ride next year. Looking forward to it. He's definitely one of the ones that you got to keep an eye on when the races are progressing, and the field somehow getting between them all. But, yeah, Camden Jester is going full-time racing next season in the NEXXTCAR Racing League. But right now, they have just – oh, there goes Christopher Thomas right around. It's all part of the hot track tonight. So there's going to be a lot of slipping and sliding here tonight. These guys pretty much know practice is over, and they're just kind of goofing around right now. I think the only ones out here actually putting down a lap right now is David Chandler. And then Dustin Bloodworth making his return to NEXXTCAR. He made his return early on this season, and then had to step away from racing for a little bit, but now he is back out there in that number 51 Toyota Tundra, piling into the pile up there at the front stretch. But welcome back, Dustin. As these guys are ticking down to just 50 seconds left here of practice. I think everyone's pretty much given up on putting down a practice lap here. And, yep, that is officially everybody right there at the start-finish line. But these guys have 30 seconds left here in practice, so we're going to step away here before we head into qualifying. We're going to step away, do a little intermission, and we'll be right back here to bring you the action from qualifying. So don't go anywhere because things are going to get interesting here at Talladega. Qualifying is next. Don't go anywhere. Folks, welcome back here to the NEXXTCAR Racing League here on iRacing at Talladega Superspeedway. It's going to be a wild one tonight, folks, so strap in because it is going to go for a wild ride tonight. But let's go and get your race information up here for tonight's 90-lap race here in Week 11 at Talladega Superspeedway for the This Is Dega 250 presented by HVAC Designs and W Energy here for this 2.66 mile track. These drivers 74-degree air temperature with 38% humidity, 3-mile-an-hour wind, so that wind is not going to play a factor tonight, but that track temperature sure is. You can see it right there, dead center of your screen, 121 degrees Fahrenheit. This track is going to be fast. It's going to be slippery. These drivers are going to have to be at the top of their game tonight if they're going to have any shot of taking that very prestigious ride to victory lane tonight here at Talladega. Talladega, a track that opened up in 1969, 53 years ago, finding its way onto the NASCAR circuit and held its very first race. And who knew that that would have produced some of the most prestigious drivers in NASCAR history, the Alabama Gang. Some of those guys very well known around the NASCAR community, and these drivers looking to try to put their name in the NEXXTCAR Alabama Gang tonight. So right now, qualifying is going on right now. Alberto Abar is going to be topping the standings right now. I take that back. Stephen Henning has just taken over. Give me 1 second to reload the overlay. Sorry about that. Sometimes SDK Gaming decides it doesn't want to cooperate very well. But there we go. Stephen Henning with a 56.08 with Alberto Abar in second with a 56.12. Then Tucker's going to round out your top 5 and Chandler down in 10th. But these drivers are going to have to be on top of their game tonight. We talked about it, the track temperature, the weather. The wind is not going to be a factor like these guys had at Daytona and then at Atlanta. Atlanta, it was about 22-mile-an-hour winds that those guys were dealing with, pushing those trucks all around. But tonight, that wind is not going to be a factor for these guys, but that track temperature is. We talked about it. These trucks are going to be slipping and sliding, just like Dunford just slid his way up there into the pole position with just over a minute left. And I take that back. Dylan Tibbetts in the 45 is now going to be taking the pole position. That would be absolutely huge for Dylan in his return to NEXXTCAR. We have not seen him for the past couple of weeks. As I mentioned last week, he is works out on a boat, and he is gone for 4 months at a time, and then he's back home for 4 months. So Dylan, welcome back to to the ground and welcome to the pool, buddy, as you are going to have to hold on for about 50 more seconds to have your first pull in NEXXTCAR. Dunford in second, Cole Larson third, Stephen Henning fourth, and then J.D. Larson in fifth. Some of the guys we're going to have to keep an eye on, all stemming from last week at Iowa, folks. Larson versus Chandler. That's J.D. Larson versus David Chandler. J.D. Larson, in his post-race interview, said that David Chandler was running a little too aggressive, which led to the crashing out of both Larsons and ending their run and their bid to having their first ever top 5 finish, their highest finish ever. So, going to be interesting to see. Is there any payback that happens here on the high banks of Talladega? This isn't normally the track for payback, but these drivers know that right now that championship is the most important thing that will be crowned next week. Your champion will find out next week after Phoenix. 150 laps at Phoenix next week to settle it all. But these drivers have 90 laps tonight to deal with. And right now, Dylan Tibbetts is going to get his first career pull in the NEXXTCAR Racing League. Qualifying is officially shut down, and Tibbetts is going to get it done here at Talladega. But these drivers have 4 minutes left before the gridding process starts, so Tibbetts can enjoy his pull for a little bit, and then it's showtime here from Talladega. You can see his lap time right there, 55.97. Dunford second with a 56.06, tied with J.D. Larson, then Henning, and then, Cole Larson, and then Henning and J.D. Larson rounding out your top 5. These drivers are going to have their hands full tonight. Mentioned it several times. And it is going to be very interesting as this race progresses. 19 drivers gridding up here tonight at Talladega. And at Talladega, all 19 drivers have the same exact opportunity to get their way to victory lane. Don't pay attention to Tulloch's name just jumping up there to second. He put down a qualifying lap after the 5-minute mark, so Tulloch will be receiving an EOL for this qualifying run, but apparently he just wanted to get some practice laps in as he was not able to make practice. But, yeah, Dylan Tibbetts, what a run in qualifying he had, grabbing his first career pull ever in that number 45 Toyota. He's going to be excited. I can't wait to see if we can't get a pre-race interview with them during the pace lap. But these guys, they have just over 2 minutes left, so we're going to step away here for a quick break. Don't go anywhere, folks, because the green flag will be dropping next here from Talladega. These drivers are going to have their hands full. It's going to be a good one. One you are not going to want to miss.
He traded his guns for love, but he's caught in the crossfire. And he keeps waking up, but it's not to the sound of birds. The tyranny, the violent streets, the pride of all that we're blessed with. And we can't get enough, no. Heaven, if you sent us down, so we could build a playground for For the sinners who play as saints, you'd be so proud of what we made. I hope you got some beds around, 'cause you're the only refuge now. For every mother, every child, every brother, it's caught in the crossfire. Train my luck to know while he's caught in the crossfire. And now I'm here waking up to the sun and the sound of birds. Society's anxiety, the perhaps of all that we're blessed with. We just can't get enough. No, heaven, if you sent us down so we could build a playground for the sinners who play as saints. You'd be so proud of what we made. I hope you got some beds around, 'cause you're the only refuge now. For every mother, every child, every brother.
All right, folks, you can see it. The gridding process has started here at Talladega for 90 laps tonight. What do you say we try to get down there and get a pre-race interview with these guys here? But before we do that, let's get your starting grid up here. Dylan Tibbetts from Ohio is going to grab his first ever pole here in the NEXXTCAR Racing League with a 55.973. Peyton Tuluck is going to get an EOL, but right now being scored in the second position. Brendan Dunford third, Cole Larson fourth, Stephen Henning fifth, JD Larson sixth, Dustin Bloodworth seventh, Alberto Abar eighth, Nicholas Don Francisco ninth, with Steve Bocock, one of the best in the super speedway racing business, in 10th. Matt Tucker 11th, Christopher Thomas 12th, Andrew Bolander 13th, David Smith 14th, with David Chandler in 15th, Zachary Brooks in 16th, Cole Owen 17th, Cam Jester in 18th. I myself am not racing, so that will move Jimmy Emos up to the 19th position here at Talladega. So what do you say we try to get down there and see if we can't get a pre-race interview here with the man of the minute, Dylan Tibbetts. Dylan Tibbetts, it's Ronnie in the booth. You got me, buddy? Dylan, you got me, buddy?
Hello?
Hey, buddy, you got me? All right, apparently we are having I don't know what's going on. I may be having a little bit of a connection issue here, but we'll see if we can't get with Dylan at some point throughout the night. But right now, Dylan Tibbetts is going to be leading the field here through turns 1 and 2 for the first time tonight here behind that Chevy Silverado pace truck. Cole Larson's going to be on his outside. A very interesting front row here tonight. But hey, this is Talladega. Anything can happen. Anyone can win, and it's about to be go time here in the NEXXTCAR Racing League here at Talladega. 2.66 mile track tonight with 33-degree banking. It's all out, pedal to the metal here tonight. These drivers, this track is bad fast. It's wide. You're going to see it 3, 4, and coming to that checkered flag, I would not be surprised to see 5 wide racing tonight. These drivers know what's at stake. Those that are in the NEXXTCAR playoffs for Season 3 know that a win here would mean everything. Who's going to get it done? Last week, we saw a non-playoff driver get it done at Iowa here in the Truck Series. Tonight, will someone in the playoffs get their way to victory lane? Or will it be another upset in the making for the NEXXTCAR Playoff Truck Series drivers? Anyone can win here. Tonight is all about the unknown at this 2.66 mile track. This is Dega, and that big one's going to happen. It's just a matter of when and where. We mentioned it. When is it going to happen? And where in the field is it going to happen? But these drivers have got to put the butterflies behind them. They got to reach up there, pull them seatbelts tight just one more time, and make sure that truck is ready to go 90 laps, 240 miles tonight of wild racing here at Talladega. Into the restart zone. Green flag's going to be in the air for the first time tonight here at Talladega. Steve Bocock wasting no time. Alberto Abar spinning the tires on the initial start. 3 wide already heading into turn number 1. Steve Bocock on the outside. Big push on that high line. The Larsons bumper to bumper. Alberto Abar behind him. Here comes Christopher Thomas, the 4th truck on the outside with David Smith behind him. Steve Bocock kind of getting stranded up on that high line all by himself. Alberto spun the tires on the start, forced Steve to go out there, and now all by himself with no help. He's going to drop all the way back. Here comes Christopher Thomas. I'm sorry, Nicholas Don Francisco to 48. I'm so used to Christopher Thomas being in HendrickCars.com truck, but now Nicholas Don Francisco is picking it up. Now going through no man's land through the middle. He's going to clear his way. Now still stuck in the middle, trying to side draft 4 wide through the triangle here on lap number 2. They're going to get it figured out. Nicholas San Francisco with a power move through the middle. He's going to get himself up there to second here to start lap number 3. Absolutely incredible racing here at this one. Still 3 wide with David Smith all the way up against the wall here on that high line with no help behind him. I thought Steve was going to try to move up there a little bit and work with him. Now, that's going to get tight out of 2. They're going to keep going straight. Steve Bocock's not going to jump in behind him. Now, goes back behind his teammate of Alberto. Those 2 teammates for the American Defenders Racing Team going to stick together here and try to work each other back up to the front. But here comes that inside line. Nicholas Don Francisco leading the charge on the inside line, bringing Christopher Thomas with them with Dylan Tibbetts, your pole sitter, right behind them. But here comes the Larsons back on the outside with Alberto. Don Francisco looking to lead the way back this time. Cole Larson will deny him the lap once again and leads him back to start lap 3. Now David Smith still 3 wide about mid-pack. Steve Bocock's trying to clear him, trying to use the draft off of Dunford in front of him in the number 9 Hooters Toyota. David Smith getting absolutely no help on that far outside line. That inside line has the better trucks, but right now that high line still holding strong with just 5-6 trucks versus that entire inside line. But David Smith not helping that outside line. He's not doing anything wrong, but when you get to racing 3 wide like that, that hurts that outside line. Now you can see the gap that is formed behind Dunford. Now just 4 trucks with Smith running that outside line completely by himself has pulled Zachary Brooks off the back bumper of Smith. Now Smith is going to try to get back down there and side draft a little bit, but all this shuffling back and forth is allowing that inside line to kind of pull away. But you see it right there, Dylan Tibbetts jumping up to that high line and now getting the big push from Cole Larson with JD and Alberto right behind them. Now drag race down the long back stretch. You can see them snaking back and forth, trying to help each other out, trying to bump draft as much as possible. And when you do that, the truck gets squirrely, especially the 120-degree track temp. And these drivers, I mentioned it, they're going to have to be at the top of their game tonight. They're going to have to drive with the elbows out, but don't get too aggressive with those pushes, because as soon as you do, well, that's when the big one happens. Tibbetts leading the charge on the high line, trying to get back to where he started this thing out front. But right now it is going to be Don Francisco leading them back to lap 5 here of 90. So still a very long way to go here in this one. You can see Alberto blinking a little bit, still dealing with those internet issues that he had last week. He's not at his house right now, and that is definitely, when you're behind a guy that keeps blinking like that, it is not a very safe place to be. You do not feel comfortable behind him, because when he comes back, well, you don't know where he's going to be. So it can be very sketchy at times, but right now, everyone around him doing a pretty good job of not spinning him. As you can see, Dunford laying back a little bit, making sure that there's not an issue when it comes to that. But right now, Tibbetts and Larson leading the way here, coming to complete lap 5 of 90. Tibbetts is going to get it done here on lap 5, and he is going to lead his first lap of the race. Big push from that 48 at Don Francisco. You can see both lanes snaking back and forth, trying to get some speed, trying to side draft each other, trying to survive the pushes from behind. Now heading down into turn number 3. That inside line gets the better run into the corner, but that outside line gets the big run off the corners. So these drivers, oh, Larson just about turned his son right there. I thought for sure JD was going to hook cool there, but they're able to keep it going straight. And Don Francisco's going to lead them back this time. The Larson still bumper to bumper behind Don Francisco. Tibbetts has Thomas behind him. Now Tibbetts with a big run through turns 1 and 2, using a little bit of side draft, him and Thomas. Now dead even out of 2. The field still bumper to bumper, side by side down the backstretch. David Smith looking once again to try to go to the far third lane. Thinks better of it. Stays behind Zachary Brooks as he has no help behind him. Now heading through turns 3 and 4. Dead even into turn 3, but now that inside line of Dylan Tibbetts is going to get the big momentum, but here comes Don Francisco right back on that outside. You can see just how unstable that 5 truck is right now behind Tibbetts. That's all because of dirty air. That upsets these trucks. The trucks do not like it. The air around the trucks don't like it, and that makes these things very unstable. And you saw it right there with Christopher Thomas, just that truck bouncing around. And that's what these drivers are going to have to deal with all race long. And that's no different tomorrow night when the Cup Series heads to Talladega for their super speedway race. And these drivers, I've mentioned it several times, are going to have to be at the top of their game tonight. And right now, through 8 laps, these guys, I would say, are doing a pretty good job. But how about Peyton Tulloch? We mentioned it. He was going to have that EOL. Sorry, the EOL to start out the race for qualifying after the time. Well, now he's the 3rd truck on that outside line, running around in the 6th position. So pretty good recovery for that 17 Chevy so far here, coming to complete lap 9 this time. Now that outside line is getting the big momentum. They're getting more trucks up there, more people committed, and you can see it. Peyton jumped up there, and he is pushed on Francisco clear of Tibbetts. Now the big run off that high line with the Cole Larson in front of him. JD has fallen back a little bit here. JD's fallen all the way back to that 7th position behind Peyton Tulloch in the 17. So now the Larsons are not bumper to bumper. Now Peyton's in there. He's stuck in the middle there. Now trying to push that high line past that inside line. But right now, neither lane. Tibbetts is going to go up to block the outside line. He knew the big run from Don Francisco was coming. Don Francisco goes to the outside, almost getting into the wall. Now Tibbetts stuck in no man's land in the middle. Stuck in no man's land. He is going to go from leading to the back of the pack. That 45 Toyota is. That is not what you want to see if you are a fan of that 45 Toyota Tundra. But now he's going to be able to jump in behind Peyton Tulloch, gets the big run off of Tulloch, goes to the outside. Now he's going to have to try to side draft his way back up there. Now he's going to have to tuck in behind Peyton. He's going to have no help as J.D. Larson was about 2 truck lengths behind him, was not able to get up there and push him back to the outside of Peyton. But now, he went up there to block the high side momentum with Don Francisco, and Don Francisco said no sir and went to his outside, and they were able to just kind of freight train Tibbetts. And now you see Tibbetts running back there in the 6th position, the 4th truck on that high line. So he didn't lose a whole lot, but it could have been a lot worse for him, no doubt about it, as these drivers are going to have lap traffic here ahead of them. I believe that is Jimmy Emos, and it is all by himself right in front of the field as they're going to be coming out of turn number 4 this time. Dylan Tibbetts still trying to get that high line to work. Now JD goes up with him. What does the 9? Does Dunford go with him? He does. But that's not going to be enough right there. Can JD push him to the outside of paint to luck? If he gets to the outside, they're going to have enough side draft momentum. Now they get out there, but JD's going to abandon Tibbetts. Left him all alone on the 3rd lane, and now Tibbetts is now going to drop to the back of the field. Oh, watch out. Don Francisco comes down into Sheep. Sheep's going to come back up onto the track, and he's going to hook Don Francisco. Don Francisco going to keep it out of the inside wall. No, he is not. He's going to make hard contact with that inside wall. We stay green. Caution flies for the first time tonight. You saw it, folks. I don't know if maybe that was a push gone wrong or what. So let's back it up and see what happened here with the 48. Was it a push gone wrong? Let's see what exactly Cole Larson did here. Oh yeah, 100% a push gone wrong. You saw Cole Larson when he got to the back bumper of the 48 at Don Francisco. He was too far to the right, had way too much speed going. And when he got there, just kind of ran over Don Francisco a little bit. Like I said, just a push gone too wrong. Keep an eye on that black and silver HVAC truck. Right there. Just not center when he pushed him. And that turns Don Francisco to the left. And then Sheep just kind of tried to come back up and try to make sure he doesn't lose a whole lot of position or momentum. And just barely hooks the 48. But folks, we are going to be under caution for the first time tonight here at Talladega. Pretty solid start to this race so far for a lot of guys. So hopefully these guys can continue it, but we're going to step away here for a quick intermission here at Talladega. Don't go anywhere because these guys still have a lot of racing left here in this one. So don't go anywhere, folks. We will be right back.
Yeah, let's go. I don't care what they all say. That's right. I'ma do this thing my way. Let's go. Been grinding hard on it all day. Okay. We work hard, then we all play. Yeah. I'm addicted to the grind, man. That's right. So I refuse to waste time, man. Yeah. One day it all will be fine, man. Let's go. Gotta commit to the climb. You know we're back with the Guinness, setting records every minute, every track. In addiction to the fact that we're winning, still we lack something's missing. Need a track that is hitting, making racks, making millions. Oh, yeah. That's the mission. I don't waste time, no, I make time. All these people wanna hate, fine, I'ma make mine. While you sitting there complaining, I'll be training. While you sitting there just waiting, I'm creating. Yeah. Sometimes I think that I'm unstoppable. Yeah. Ready to go, man, lock and load. That's right. I swear to God that I could drop it, bro. Yeah. I got a shot and I ain't stopping, no. That's how I know that I'm unstoppable. That's how I know that I'm unstoppable.
folks, you can see it, the field side by side behind the Chevy Silverado pace truck with its lights turned off. We are going back racing this time. Our first caution of the night, well, we knew it was going to happen at some point. A push gone wrong from Cole Larson to the back bumper of Don Francisco. And then Sheep just happened to be right there stuck in the middle as an innocent victim. But hey, they all kept it going straight. And let's get back to racing. Larson's making up the front row here on this restart. Excuse me. Cole Larson, the son, inside. JD, the father, on the outside. And then you got Thomas and Bocock making up row 2. Don't look too far back because you don't need to. Steve Bocock, slowly but surely, working his way up to the front here at Talladega. But, folks, you can see it, the pace truck hooking that hard left. Back onto pit road. Christopher Thomas ready with the front bumper to the back of Cole Larson here as they're getting ready to enter the Geico restart zone here in the tri-oval. Remember, the start-finish line, 2,000 yards past the, feet past the center of the tri-oval, and we are going back racing. Cole's going to jump up immediately in front of his father. That's going to open up the door for Christopher Thomas on the inside, who has absolutely no help behind him, as it was about 3 truck lengths back to his next help of David Chandler in 5th. But now Steve Bocock pushing the Larsons. He's going to get tight behind him. That's all part of that dirty air, but now he's got his teammate Peyton Tulloch behind him. So father, son with 2 teammates behind him. Steve trying to get that high line to work, but here comes Dylan Tibbetts on the far outside, forming the 3rd lane with no help behind him or in front of him. Now no one's going to jump up there. I thought the 22 Zachary Brooks was going to at least try to go up there, but he decides to not. And now here comes Cole Larson with the big push from JD behind him, trying to lead him back to complete lap 16 this time. Christopher Thomas coming back strong on that inside line. Who's going to lead him back to the line? Dead even at the line, but it's going to go to the way of Christopher Thomas in the 5. Going to lead his first lap of the race with his buddy David Chandler behind him with Alberto Eibar, the American Defenders teammates. You can see them all running right there. The 12, the 13, and the 17 all running together here in this one on lap number 17. Big push that high line. Bumper to bumper, side by side for the first 5 rows. Here comes Henning into 78. Your 4th truck on that inside line, trying to work his way up to the back bumper of Alberto Eibar. But now that outside line really starting to form. Dunford about a half a truck length off the back bumper of Peyton Tulloch. But now we got some movement up front. I thought Steve Bocock was going to try and make it 3 wide there for the lead, but thinks better of it. He's going to get behind JD Larson, just about getting to get turned there, but he's going to stay on, keep his foot in the gas, and he's going to stay on the back bumper of Cole. But now dead even out of turn number 2, the 20 and the 5. That outside line, much more trucks. But that inside line is a lot better organized, as you can see that outside line snaking back and forth, while that inside line able to kind of keep it a little more straight. And that is how that inside line is able to hold on to the same momentum as that outside line. Yeah, more trucks on the outside, but if you don't get organized. But here comes Steve Bocock really breaking that organization on the outside line. His teammate's going to go with them of Peyton Tulloch in the 17. Now, teammates versus father-son versus best friends on that inside line. But right now, that outside line, the 3rd line of Peyton and Steve, not going to go anywhere. But now trying to side draft their way back up there. You can see JD sticking his nose out from behind Cole, trying to get some air to the front of his nose so he can push a little better, try to cool the oil temps down. But now, not really getting anywhere. Any lane is kind of stalling out here, but 3 wide down the backstretch. Jimmy Emos trying to figure out which lane he's going to go in support of. But now that high line, that 3rd lane, starting to fall back here a little bit as they head through turns 3 and 4. Bocock and Tulloch, they're going to surrender 3rd and 4th, trying that outside line now, backing up that middle lane, starting to get forward back up once again. Dunford's going to leave Brooks and Don Francisco to the back bumper of both both Larsons. Now Steve trying to side draft his way back up on that outside line. It's working a little bit. Can he get to the outside of Dunford? If he can get to the right rear quarter panel to Dunford and side draft, he will be able to pull himself right back up there, dead even with the Larsons. But he's got to get a little bit closer, try to get a little more side draft going. Now in that middle lane really seeing the side draft, trying to snake. That's what they're trying to do, is break that draft. But now Steve with a very aggressive side draft, just about put himself into the wall to do it. Can the fourth teammate of the American Defenders team get up there with these guys? That's Dustin Bloodworth in the 51. Can he try to get up there and help his two teammates ahead? But right now, Christopher Thomas has cleared the rest of the field with the pushes from David Chandler and Alberto Ebar. Alberto, can he possibly get to that high line and help his two other teammates? Remember, he's a member of the American Defenders racing team. Can he get up there and help those two? Right now, he's being blocked in by those Larsons. He's not able to get to the outside and help them. But right now, that middle line's starting to form back up. Just as I say that, Zachary Brooks gets a little loose right there from a big push from Don Francisco. That's going to allow that outside line to get a little more momentum going. And now they're coming right back along on that outside line. And here comes that middle line right back at them as Cole Larson's going to lead the field back into the tri-oval here to complete lap 21. Now JD trying to side draft very heavily there to Bocock, almost going to force him up into the wall on the outside of tri-oval. But folks, that outside line, that third lane is starting to come back strong. Now they're going to have another truck. The fourth member of the American Defenders team has arrived on the scene, and here he comes. Dustin Bloodworth is now bumper to bumper with his two teammates. Alberto, the only one not working with the teammate right now. Can he eventually find his way up there just like Dustin Bloodworth did? Now, 3 wide still through turns 3 and 4. You can see just what that did. Steve able to pull up dead even with the Larsons here through the tri-oval. We folks have a heck of a battle for the lead here. 3 wide, JD save it. Getting loose on the entrance into turn 1. But now 3 trucks versus 5 trucks on its inside. That high line prevailing right now for Bocock, Tulloch, and Bloodworth. Steve is going to find a big push from Peyton. He's going to get to the front. Now, you can see Don Francisco abandoning the middle lane. He's going to go to the outside lane. See something working up there. Now he's going to drop back into the middle lane, try to get a little more momentum, and maybe try to get back up that outside line. But Steve still trying to lead his way back to the line. Is Steve going to lead his first lap of the race? Yes, he is. I mentioned it, Steve, one of the best in the business when it comes to super speedway racing. Now, is he going to become the best in the business of abandoning his teammates? Peyton, Dustin, all by themselves now on that outside line. Steve, does he go back up there to work with them? He's going to stay in the middle lane, try to use the momentum where he finds it, leaving his teammates abandoned. That's not going to make Peyton happy. Now, Andrew Bolander in the 4, just a little bit ahead of the field. What is he going to do? What is the field going to do when they catch him? And all of that, folks, is going to allow, excuse me, Christopher Thomas to get back to the lead with the big push from David Chandler, who is locked on that rear bumper of the 5. But here comes Steve Bocock right back to the front. It's going to be dead even at the line. It's going to go to the way of Christopher Thomas here, leading on back to start lap 25. But just in front of the leaders, you can see it. That purple number 4 Yahoo.com is right out front. These drivers, where does Andrew go? Where does the field go? Andrew. Oh, watch out. David Chandler's going to get turned behind him. He's going to keep it going straight. Everybody keeps it going straight. Big save by David. Alberto trying not to give him room to come back up because he knows that's going to get him stuck in no man's land. Now the internet giving problems. He's going to keep it going straight. So does the field. I know Andrew Bolander, if he was looking at that rear view mirror, oh, buddy, he might need to get some some cleaning wipes inside that truck because things got a little nasty there. But man, what a save by David Chandler. And in the midst of all that, Steve Bocock says, thank you very much. I will take that lead. Now, the Larsons still bumper to bumper, 25 laps into this thing. Those two have worked together all race. Well, now, can Dear Daddy JD push him back up there to the front? Payne to luck now abandons that outside line just as Alberto gets up to that outside line. Now Alberto working with the other teammate. I'm sorry, that's not the 51 behind him. 51 has dropped it to the inside line. So Alberto finally works his way to that third lane and says, where did my teammates go? Because now he has no one around him. Dunford now going to jump up there. Payton's going to finally jump up there in front of Alberto. Now those guys are going to get lined up. Steve on the inside, trying to lead them back through turns 1 to 2, 3 wide once again, this time bumper to bumper, side by side. Steve is doing a great job. So is Christopher Thomas. The majority of the opening laps of this race, Christopher Thomas in the 5 has spent leading a line. Well, now he finds himself stuck behind Steve Bocock, doing a fantastic job of pushing, not being too aggressive. Now, you see David Chandler abandoning that inside line. He's going to go to the outside in front of the Larsons. Now, J.D. Larson, we mentioned it, not very happy with David last week. Now, immediately tries to abandon that middle lane, tries to go up in front of Payton to luck, and he will this time. That might not work out too well for JD. That was not the time or place to try to get back to that outside line. Now Cole, what does Cole do? He's had his dad behind him this whole opening 28 laps. Now all by himself. David way down underneath the yellow line once again. Cole Larson with the push from Don Francisco. And Zachary Brooks, what a turnaround for that 22 truck. He's finding himself up there in the top 5, running around in that 5th position. And how about Stephen Henning? Quietly, but slowly but surely working his way up towards the front in that number 78, now in the 6th position. We mentioned it, his final season with NEXXTCAR. So close to winning last season at Canadian Tire and Road America. Can he finally prevail and get that elusive first win in NEXXTCAR? Steve Bocock leading the inside charge. Can he get the victory lane? These guys still have 60 laps left in this thing, so a long way to go. But man, a lot of guys up towards the front that are looking for that first win ever in NEXXTCAR. Bocock, both Larsons, Thomas, Henning, Brooks, all looking for that elusive first win. These guys, they'll do anything right now with the NEXXTCAR playoffs to get the victory lane. Things are going to get heated here in the next 60 laps. But now Tibbetts working his way back up in that 45. Remember, he got the pole for tonight's race. Now, slowly but surely working his way back up as well in that 6th position in the number 45 Toyota Tundra. Right now, the field breaking into 2 parts here. You got your front half of the field, side by side, bumper to bumper, 6 rows deep. And then from 13th on back, single file. You can see it at the bottom of your ticker, folks. Andrew Bolander in the 4, 2 laps down right now, hoping for another caution. But right now, Steve Bocock continues to lead the way here at Talladega, but he cannot get comfortable up there because he has got the Larsons to his outside. Here comes Cole Larson with a big push from Don Francisco, trying to use a little bit of side draft, trying to work his way back up there. Christopher Thomas pushing all over the back bumper of the 12. do you say we jump inside the cockpit of that number 22 here of Zachary Brooks heading through turns 3 and 4? See what exactly he sees out that windshield riding behind Don Francisco. He is the third truck in this high line. He's going to get a big run, but you can hear him lift. That way he doesn't quite get to the back bumper. Keep some air, just let the air push, versus what you can see Christopher Thomas doing, the second truck on that inside line. Let's go and jump to his, and you can see he is all over the back bumper at that 12. But a big push from Don Francisco is going to push that middle lane dead even with Bocock on that inside lane. Side by side, dead even they are out of turn number 2. Drag race down the backstretch. 6 versus 6. JD Larson has fallen from 4th behind Cool all the way back to the 13th position. Maybe strategy. Didn't feel comfortable where he was. Now, Don Francisco is going to boot the 20 out of the way. Don Francisco is now going to lead the charge through the middle lane. Cole's going to fall all the way back now, but Don Francisco wanted to lead this middle lane now versus Steve. That's going to get tough with Christopher Thomas running about half a truck width up off that yellow line. Oh, hang on to it, Jimmy. Jamie Emos is going to keep it going straight. We stay green. Back up to the front, still side by side, bumper to bumper. You can see JD stepping out there on the entrance into the corners, going up high, trying to get some air to the front of that truck. Maybe he's having some engine temperature issues, but these guys still pushing like it's coming to the white flag this time, but they still have got 55 laps to go here this time. Steve Bocock with the best seat in the house right now, all by himself out front. No, well, Don Francisco's coming back out his outside. I was going to say he has no threat to that outside lane, but they're coming right back at him. Alberto, Peyton, what do? Dunford and his return. He's been absent the last couple of weeks. He's eager to get back racing. Now you see Peyton dropping back off his teammate of Alberto, maybe trying to set up for a big run here into the tri-oval. JD with a big save down there below the apron. Peyton with a big run, there it is to the outside, but no one goes with them. I knew when I saw the big gap forming, he was backing up, hoping that Dunford was going to go with them, but Dunford did not. Now, side drafting his teammate of Alberto. Now, Dunford goes to the outside. Alberto stuck in no man's land now between the two lanes. Now, Peyton's going to drop down in front of Alberto. That's going to leave Dunford. Never mind. He's going to go right back to the outside. He saw that outside line gaining momentum. Now, where does Alberto go? He's going to get stuck behind, excuse me, Zachary Brooks in the 22. But now Peyton, that outside line not really going where he thought it was. Alberto, does he jump up in front of him? He's going to stay dedicated to the middle lane. And with all this shuffling going back and forth, Don Francisco able to hold his own right now in the middle lane. But here comes Peyton to luck on that outside. 3 wide at the line. Brooks and Don Francisco all alone in that middle lane. To luck with 3 guys behind him. The rest of the field all in that middle lane. JD Larson is going to abandon that outside line. He's going to drop to the middle. So does Dunford. That's going to leave Peyton to luck all by himself out there. As Alberto, he's going to stay dedicated to that inside line. He's going to leave a hole for Peyton to drop down in, but Peyton does not. And he's going to continue to try to run that high line. But, man, the rest of this field, they are right there with your lead pack now. No longer is there 2 packs formed. Out front, Steve Bocock continues to lead the laps here at Talladega with Christopher Thomas behind him. Don Francisco on his outside with Zachary Brooks behind him. Those two have worked together the majority of these opening laps here. Alberto has fallen all the way back to 10th. To Luck all the way back to 12th. Oh, Steve! I couldn't tell if Steve was coming to pit road. So is Peyton. Peyton needs to get that truck slowed up in time. I'm not sure if the 17 did or not. Green flag pit stops have started here for Tulloch and Bocock. Now Don Francisco is going to take over the lead here down the backstretch. Brooks now on his outside. Remember, those two are working together. Now Christopher Thomas in the 5. Now pushing Don Francisco. When do the rest of the leaders come down pit road? No one else has come down pit road yet. To Luck. They're just now going through turns 1 and 2. At least to Luck is. Steve as well. So neither one of those guys got a speeding penalty, but right now they're going to have to worry about the field coming up behind them. As you can see them at the top of your screen just now heading into turn number 3, while the field is going to be flying down this backstretch. But 3 wide once again now for the lead. Remember, the 4 of Andrew Bolander, the purple Yahoo number 4, is 2 laps down right now. Jimmy Emos 1 lap down. Andrew Bolander needs to get in front of Emos to try to get back into Lucky Dog candidate if Emos still running all by himself here through turns 3 and 4. They're going to get turned out front. The big one is going to happen on lap 40. Alberto, David Smith involved. Christopher Thomas involved. Tucker's going to make it through. But the big one here on lap 40 is going to happen at the front of the pack. Let's back it up and see what happened here in this one. Was it another push gone wrong? You see them just about 4 wide. Smith on the outside with Zachary Brooks, Christopher Thomas, and Don Francisco all 4 wide. It looks like Zach just kind of comes down a little bit. Maybe thinking the 7. Well, right there, you can see on the exit of the tri-oval, the 22 kind of pushes up a little bit. I don't know if maybe the air or something got to him. But watch the 22. On the exit of this tri-oval, right there, it goes to make a move, and then just kind of comes back down a little bit. I think he made the move a little too aggressive. Thought he was going to get into the left rear quarter panel of the 7, and then decides to come back down. Him and Christopher Thomas kind of just met in the middle there. And then right around goes the rest of the field. Steve Henning having a solid race so far in this one, finding himself involved in this one. But right now, Don Francisco, Brooks, Henning, 3 trucks, David Smith even, all involved in this one, still going to find themselves in the top 5. So, I mean, their strong runs are going to continue here on lap 40. But still, a long way to go here at Talladega, folks. But we're going to step away here for another intermission. Don't go anywhere, because this is Talladega and anything can happen.
To create a song, I don't want to miss a beat. And on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go through the wastelands. Yeah. Just tell me where you wanna go. Let me take you there. You see, I've been around the globe. I've seen a lot, babe. But I wanna see what's above. I wanna see what's below. Just tell me where you wanna go. You can name the place, yeah, you can name the time. We can leave it all behind. No stop or rewind. Before we running out of time. I can see us both flying around, chilling in a boat right by the coast. I can see our clothes down on the floor. I can see it all, baby, we should go. Get set, go, take off.
All right, folks, you see it here on the front row here to make this restart. Side by side are going to be two teammates, Peyton Tulloch and Steve Bocock. Well, their early pit strategy maybe has worked out in their favor, as the big one happened on lap 40, which coincidentally enough was your stage break of the night. It was already selected to be lap 40, and they decided to crash coming to end stage one. So definitely not the way that you want to end stage one for a lot of these guys tonight, but a lot of those strong trucks, I'll be looking to see them back up front here in this one. But you can see at the field getting side by side with the lights off on the pace truck, and now side by side is the 12 and 17. You saw them come down pit road very early in this one. They pitted on lap 37, while the rest of the field all pitted on lap 41 under this caution. So they came down about 4 laps before that caution came out, and hey, it played out in their favor. They were able to easily avoid that big one, as it all happened at the front of the field, right where they were running. So those two, the pit strategy is going to play out perfectly for them, as we're going to get words that the green is going to be waved off this time. The field still trying to get it figured out here, but you can see it. The 4 of Andrew Bolander is now back on the lead lap with this one. So that caution came out at the perfect time for him, and I'm sure he will take it, as he is now going to be scored in the 14th position, back on the lead lap. But out front, it's going to be interesting to see how do these two work together. Tulloch, Bocock. Well, you saw Steve abandon Peyton earlier on. Will that play a factor here in this restart or later on when it matters most? Definitely going to have to keep an eye on that. But the other big story right now, Chandler, he's up in that 4th position. I'm sure he's looking in the mirror. Where is J.D. Larson at? Because remember, J.D.'s not too happy with them either after that Iowa race last week. So, you know, you're going to have a couple of different rivalries that you're going to have to keep an eye on, as next week we do crown our Season 3 champion. So when will J.D. get his payback that he promised to get last week? Is it going to happen tonight, or is it going to happen when David, your current points leader, when he cannot afford it, and it happens next week? But you can see only 4 trucks lined up on that outside line. Remember, we are doing the choose cone rule. So apparently not a lot of people feel that outside line is the place to be right now, as there is only 4 trucks lined up there. But we are going back racing this time to start lap 45 of 90, and we will officially be halfway when they take the green flag. The field heading through turns 3 and 4, hoping to get the green flag this time. That Chevy Silverado pace truck gonna hook the left. He's gonna make his way to pit road this time, handing the control of the field. in the hands of that 17 truck of Peyton Tulloch. He's going to lead the field back into the Geico restart zone here in the tri-oval. Green flag's going to be back out in the air here. Tibbetts does not get going. That's going to stack up the field. That whole entire inside line does not get going. David Chandler's going to take full advantage of it. He's going to drop down in there behind David Smith. Peyton Tulloch immediately jumps up there to the outside in front of Steve Bocock. Now teammates lined up perfectly on the outside. 17, 12, 51, and here comes Alberto to make it 4 for ADR on that outside. But now Tibbetts jumps up there to break that ADR force. Oh, here he comes to the outside. The 51 throws a big block. Still trying to make that high line. That third lane work is Dylan Tibbetts. Alberto going with his teammates instead. Now David Smith through turns 3 and 4. It's going to get a big push from David Chandler, but here comes Peyton Tulloch with the side draft and the push from the 12 back to his outside. Here they come out of the tri-oval, dead even at the line. That's going to go to David Smith as he's going to lead his first lap of the race. Now, ADR makes up the first 4 trucks on that high line. David Smith leading David Chandler, Stephen Henning on that inside line. Zachary Brooks, aggressive move to that inside line. Oh, Andrew Bolander into the outside wall hard down the backstretch. Limping through turns 3 and 4 up against the outside wall. We are staying green so far. David Smith with a big push from Chandler. He's got a clear Tulloch heading into the travel. Caution's going to fly for the second time tonight for Bolander. Bolander unable to get that truck off the wall. I'm sure he did break that the right front axle. He cannot quite get that truck to turn, it looks like. Well, let's back it up and see exactly what happened to that number 4 Toyota. Was it a push gone wrong once again? No, he went down a little bit and then tried to come back up just as Don Francisco was able to get the big run to his outside, and right into the outside wall goes the 4. So not the start to this race that Bolander wanted, that is for sure. Remember, he was 2 laps down early on and now finds himself with a damaged Toyota Tundra. But out front, David Smith finding his way, leading the way here around Talladega here in the NEXXTCAR Truck Series with Chandler, Tulloch, Henning, and Bocock behind him, with Thomas, Bloodworth, Larson, Abar, and Brooks rounding out your top 10. Tibbetts back in 11th, Dunford 12th, Cole Larson 13th, Matt Tucker 14th, Cole Owens 15th, Camden Jester in 16th with Don Francisco in 17th, Bolander, the one that just brought out your second caution night, coming to pit road in 18th, and then Jimmy Emos in 19th, 2 laps down. But a couple of different guys coming down pit road. You can see Bocock coming down pit road. Tulloch as well. Remember, those guys pitted 4 laps earlier than that, the rest of the field when that caution came out. So those guys are going to come down, throw some fresh Goodyear tires on there, and top off with that Sunoco fuel. Steve Bocock, all 4 drivers, ADR drivers, taking left side tires only and a splash of fuel here in this one. But back out front, David Smith right now is your biggest mover of the race, plus 13 positions, tied with the guy behind him in the 1 of David Chandler, plus 13 for both of those guys. And then Zachary Brooks in 6th, plus 10 positions for that 22. Right now, he's not going to want to hear it. But right now, your biggest loser of the race right now is Peyton Tulloch. Granted, he just pitted, but right now, minus 9 positions in that 17 truck. But hey, he just pitted. We'll give him benefit of the doubt here. But those guys have been working great, him and Steve. So maybe they can continue it and get ADR their first Truck Series manufacturing win here in the NEXXTCAR Truck Series here at Talladega. But these guys closing in on lap 50 of 90, closing in ever so slightly on 40 laps to go. The lights on that Chevy Silverado pace truck ought to be going off this time, so we should be going back racing here pretty soon. Folks, the field side by side behind the iRacing pace truck, getting ready to go back racing this time here at the 2.66 mile track of Talladega Super Speedway. It's been a great race so far here in this one. These drivers definitely have rose to the challenge here tonight, and these guys, they have definitely been at the top of their game just like they needed to be so far tonight. But David Smith, Chandler, Henning, Thomas, and J.D. Larson leading the way here to this restart here tonight. With that iRacing pace truck getting ready to hook that hard left back onto the Talladega pit road. And that is going to give the control of the field into the hands of the number 7 driver of David Smith. He's going to lead the field into the trioval, back into the Geico restart zone. This time, the field bumper to bumper, side by side. We are getting ready to go back racing. Green flag's going to be back out in the air here at Talladega. Coming to start lap 50 of 90. 40 laps to go when they complete this lap. Still a long way to go here in this one. Single file already. Who's going to be the first one to step out? Zachary Brooks, Dunford. Here comes J.D. Larson to the outside with Tibbetts. Now looking to try to get back out front. Tibbetts back to the outside. 3 wide for second. Tibbetts all by himself up top, but now the ADR team coming to the rescue, pushing him through turns 3 and 4. To the outside they go. Now Cole Larson jumps up in front of J.D. Larson. Tibbetts still leading the charge in that third lane. The Larsons in the middle with David Smith way out front leading the charge on that inside line with the big push from David Chandler and Christopher Thomas. Whoa, things are going to get a little squirrely right there. Thomas had to chase it down underneath the yellow to keep her going straight, but they're all going to keep it going straight. But now, here comes that outside line being led by Dylan Tibbetts, trying to get the big run off of that high line. Now, The front two are going to clear that middle lane. Do they jump down in front of Cole Larson? Now, Cole Larson comes right back at him, though. JD's really pushing that 20. Brooks and Dunford right behind the two Larsons in that middle lane. Now, just Steve, Peyton, and Dylan making the charge in that third lane. Alberto's dropped into that middle lane, try to get some momentum. Now, what's he going to do with it? Does he go back to that high line to help his teammates? He does not. He's going to stay to the middle. Now he goes to the outside to help his teammates. Now, big move, big pushes. Here comes that third lane. 3 wide for the lead. Dylan Tibbetts back to the lead here in Talladega through turns 3 and 4. Tulloch really pushing, leading on the back bumper of the 45. He's going to get tight. Steve's into the wall out of turn number 4. They're going to keep it going straight, but that's going to hurt the momentum of that high line, and that's going to give the lead right back to David Smith on that inside line. Now here comes Cole Larson in the middle. Big push by the 18. Did the 18 try to jump up in front of Tibbetts? He will. Now, maybe 4 wide through the trial, heading into turn number 1. Not quite 4 wide. Now 4 wide through turns 1 and 2. JD's going to slam the door shut on Zachary Brooks to keep it from officially going 4 wide, but still 3 wide. Steve now goes to the middle, leaving Tibbetts and Tulloch all by themselves on the high line. Now Zachary Brooks thought about going to the outside. Thinks better of it. Now Steve Bocock abandoned that outside line. Now just the 4th truck on that inside, the middle lane. The 5th truck with Alberto behind him with the other 51 behind them. Bloodworth staying to his teammates right now. Now, do the rest of the ADR go back to the outside? Cole Larson getting the big pushes from the 18. Now, Tibbetts with a big run once again to the outside, using the side draft perfectly through turns 1 and 2. They're going to lose a little bit here on the exit at 2. Now Alberto's going to get back up there with Bloodworth. They're going to go to the outside line here. Can they maybe get something forming? Steve now going to try to work his way through the middle. Alberto laying off the back bumper of Tulloch just ever so slightly there, about a truck and a half length. Now trying to close that gap to the back of the 17. Cole Larson trying to lead the field. Now 3 wide here coming into the trial to lead this lap to complete lap 54. 3 wide. Who's going to lead? It's going to go to the way of the 7 of David Smith, but Tibbetts, Tulloch, and Abar now really trying to get that high line to work. Here comes Alberto. Steve now trying to get back up there. Bloodworth maybe trying to work his way back up there. The Larsons still holding their own on that inside line there in the middle. Smith, Chandler, Thomas still beating and banging on the bumpers in front of them, pushing Smith as hard as they can to try to hold on to the lead. Oh, they're going to crash heading into turn number 3. Alberto Abar's going to get turned. Abar's going to go around. Jimmy Emos is going to go around. Your caution is going to fly once again tonight. Alberto had a very strong run going on that high line, working with his teammates. Peyton just checks up. Let's see what exactly happened with Peyton there. Watch the white and blue 17, the 2nd truck on that high line, the 3rd lane on the outside, right there. Something happened to the 17. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if the 17 just blew his engine. Watch the white smoke that comes out the back of that 17 truck. Right when he lifts off, right there, you can see the smoke. I think the 17 blew his engine right in front of his teammates. And when you're on that high line like that, obviously you have absolutely nowhere to go. Let's jump inside the cockpit of that 13 and see exactly what he saw. Watch the back of the 17 here. Right there, you see the smoke right when that 17 truck lifted. All right, let's ride along that 17 truck. Hold on. Let's see if we can't hear exactly what the engine does. Let's try to hear what this engine does here. Yeah, he loses. I would not be surprised if he just blew his engine. Listen to that engine. Yep, he blew it. You can hear it. Right there. You can hear it blow. Peyton just blew his engine right in front of his teammates. Now sitting on pit road waiting to get that number 17 Chevy fixed. Wow. And all of that has handed the lead to David Chandler in the one. Alberto, he's going to get that 13 truck fixed. He's going to get back out there rolling. Not what you want to see there with that. If you're Alberto, I mean, Peyton didn't do nothing wrong. He didn't know his engine was going to blow unless his temps were just skyrocketing, which could have been a sign that, hey, your engine's going to blow. But now Peyton to look, still sitting on pit road in that number 17, waiting to get that truck fixed after blowing his engine in front of the field on that third lane. And like I said, all of that has handed the lead to David Chandler with Stephen Henning right behind him in that number 78 Toyota Tundra. It looks like we might be going racing this time. The lights should be going off on that pace truck this time. And indeed they are. The field going to be going back side by side. We are going back racing, excuse me, racing on lap 59 of 90. Peyton Tulloch is going to finally get that truck fixed. He's going to get that truck rolling again, just one lap down. But, man, can't believe. I think he blew an engine. We'll have to get some post-race interviews and wait and see what exactly happened there. But definitely something you don't see every day, and especially right in front of the field like that. That is the last place you want to blow your engine. And all I can think of, the only way he was able to do that was just being tucked up behind the car in front of him for too long. You know, Dylan Tibbetts was in front of him. He wasn't able to get the air to that engine to keep it cool, because in these trucks, you don't shift. You know, in the next-gen Cup cars, you know, you can run fourth or fifth gear. And maybe, you know, in the Cup cars, I would say maybe he forgot to shift up into fifth. But in the truck series, you don't have that issue. So I'm not exactly sure what happened there with Peyton, but like I said, we'll have to get some answers here in those post-race interviews, and I'm sure that's going to be a question that he's not going to look forward to getting, but we need to figure out what exactly happened. But hey, let's put what just happened behind us. The lights are off on that pace truck, and we are going back racing this time. Peyton sat on pit road for 2 minutes and 26 seconds. So that is exactly why he is now one lap down. And David Chandler is going to be leading the field back to the green flag this time through the tri-oval. Stephen Henning is going to share the front row with them. Green flag's going to be back out in the air here at Talladega. 32 laps to go in this one. Henning does not get the greatest start. Chandler jumps up there. The Larsons now separated. One on the outside, one on the inside. Will they get back together? Here comes J.D. Larson to the front of the field. Now, does he jump up in front of David Chandler? He does not. He's going to stay dedicated to the bottom. Now, Chandler's going to drop into the inside line. Now, he's going to take over third with leaving Cole Larson abandoned in that middle lane. Now, does J.D. jump up there with him? He does not. Cole's going to jump up behind Tibbetts in the 45. Don Francisco in the 48 right behind him. Here comes Alberto. You saw Alberto involved in this latest incident with Peyton Tulloch. Now trying to rebound. He's to the outside of Cole. Now trying to work his way up there. David Smith as well in the 7. Here comes the 9 of Brandon Dunford trying to work his way back up inside the top 10, which he will. He is now to the outside of Henning. Remember, Henning did not have that great restart. Still suffering from it. Now falling all the way back to 10th. Well, since the field is seems to be kind of together here and doing pretty good, why don't you say we NEXXTCAR it up here for a little bit. So let's go ahead and let's turn the volumes up on these trucks and let's NEXXTCAR it up here at Talladega. mph here around the 2.66 mile track of Talladega Super Speedway. It don't get much better than that, folks. These drivers pedal to the metal, holding it wide open. They know what's at stake for the ones in the playoffs. They know a win here would help them tremendously. A track that basically they all know they have equal opportunities of winning, and these drivers are showing it now. 3 wide. We saw 4 wide earlier. Now Dunford's going to get up into the side of David Smith. Now that's going to open up the door for the Larsons on the inside. Now here comes Don Francisco continuing to lead the way, but Tibbetts now on that inside line, a place that we have not seen him at all tonight. Most of the time we have seen him trying that 3rd lane, but now finding himself leading the charge on the inside with David Smith leading the charge on the outside with Don Francisco in the middle. Tulloch still 1 lap down after having the engine issues he had heading into turn number 3. That last caution. Emos still 2 laps down in 19th. The field still 3 wide here through the tri-oval. Don Francisco trying to hold on to the lead with a big push from Cole Larson. He's going to, but here comes David Smith with the charge on that outside. Tibbetts, that inside line starting to fall apart a little bit here. That outside line really starting to form up, but that middle lane right now is the most organized now. That outside line, you can see just how bad they're swerving back and forth, trying to side draft as much as they can and try to break the draft as much as they can. Now Bocock all over the back bumper of Thomas. Now abandoning the outside line, drops it down to the inside line. How's that going to work out for him? Tibbetts quite a ways back. Don Francisco now stuck in no man's land. That's going to get tight between him and Tibbetts. They're going to keep going straight now. Steve now leading the charge on that inside line, trying to get back up there with the help from Tibbetts. Now David Smith getting a big push from Thomas and Abar. Now working their way, trying to clear the field here. Abar now drops it down in front of his teammate Bocock. Now on that inside line. Here comes Don Francisco right back through the middle. Just about going to turn Thomas there in the middle. But now they're going to keep it going straight. Bocock now pushing Abar. He's got Tibbetts behind him with Bloodworth behind him. Don Francisco now drops down in front of the inside line of Abar. Now the 18 still pushing. J.D. Larson all over the back bumper to 48. But here comes Thomas with the big push to the 7 to David Smith, who's got Chandler behind him. Christopher Thomas, that 5 truck swerving back and forth. You can see just how unhappy that truck is behind that 7. He spent the early part of this race leading the charge on that inside line, but now Christopher Thomas stuck behind David Smith. Something he has not had to worry about doing all night long, and that was pushing someone. Steve, big save halfway down the backstretch. This field continues to be 3 wide. They could fit another row in there, folks. Let's get these drivers to get a little 4 wide action. I'm sure they're going to do it before the race is over, especially when we see that white flag drop. These drivers, they know what's at stake. The Season 3 championship. That could just be settled right here, right now. Last week went to the way of a non-playoff driver. Tonight, is a playoff driver going to get their way to victory lane, or will someone else play spoiler tonight here at Talladega? Here comes David Smith with the big push on the outside, but Don Francisco not giving up. Neither's Cole Larson with the push from Dunford. Oh, they're going to get turned out of turn number 2. Major implications coming out of turn number 2 for some of your top drivers tonight. For your 5th caution of the night, J.D. Larson is going to be clear. It's going to be his son, Cole Larson, with heavy damage to the left side of the 20. Bolander's going to clear it. Does to luck. Let's back it up and see what exactly transpired there coming out of turn number 2 for your Truck Series drivers. They were 3 wide. Everything was going smooth until the exit of turn number 2. Oh, Cole Larson came down into his father. Oh, boy. Little family feud action. Steve Harvey, where are you at? Let's go ahead and let's see exactly what happened here between these two. All right, you can see Cole Larson in the middle there on the outside of J.D. Larson, his father. Oh, Smith kind of got turned right there by Sheep, who came down into the side of Cole. And then comes down, collects J.D., and right back up the field they go. Or, I'm sorry, right back up the track in front of the field they go. Dunford, just an innocent victim in the 9. Let's see what exactly Dunford in the 9 saw out front. So all is good, and then right there, Sheep just got to the right of his car, and then right around goes the field from second on back. But folks, we are under caution for the 5th time tonight here at Talladega. You can see the field coming down to make their pit stops. This time by, folks, you're going to see your ticker drop to 20 laps to go this time. 20 laps. That's it here at the high banks of Talladega. These drivers have definitely put on a heck of a show tonight. To luck, he's going to be back on the lead lap. So definitely exactly what Peyton wanted to see after having those issues early on. Not exactly sure what transpired there to cause those issues, but you just saw it switch over. 20 laps to go here at Talladega. But folks, we're going to step away here to bring you more of the action here from Talladega. So don't go anywhere because things are getting ready to get good here.
We can leave it all behind. Before we running out of time. I can see us both flying the road, chilling in the pool right by the coast. I can see our clothes down on the floor. I can see it all. Maybe we should both get set, go, take off.
Folks, let's go ahead and get a quick through the field action going on here. Starting with your leader right now, Nicholas Don Francisco. He has found himself out front the majority of this race tonight, and at number 48 from Staunton, Virginia. He has definitely been one of the trucks to beat all night long, and right now showing that through everything that has happened so far, he still has one of the trucks to beat tonight. Steve Bocock, I mentioned it, one of the best in the business when it comes to super speedway racing here in the NEXXTCAR Racing League. Well, right now, things are winding down, and he finds himself out front with an opportunity to get that number 12 Chevy Silverado to victory lane for the first time ever in the NEXXTCAR Racing League. Will he finally get it done here tonight at Talladega? Alberto Abar in the same exact boat as Steve, one of the best to do it here at Super Speedway Racing from Lynchburg, Virginia. Well, he is yet to take that ride to victory lane as well. So is tonight his night maybe? Dustin Bloodworth, well, he's won a lot of times in the previous era of NEXXTCAR, but never here on iRacing. Can he get it done in that number 51? He sees two of his teammates, one on the inside on this restart and one in front of him. Steve, you better hang on, buddy, because I got a feeling you're going to get one heck of a push here on this restart. Dylan Tibbetts, your pole sitter for tonight, currently running in that 5th position. He has had a very up and down race so far, but right now with coming to 19 laps to go this time, he finds himself riding around in that 5th position with a name to his outside that we have not mentioned all night long from Anderson, Indiana, Matthew Tucker in that number 25 W Energy Chevy Silverado. He has quietly been riding around the back, keeping the front of that Chevy clean, keeping the nose clean, and now with the laps winding down, finding himself with a shot to head to victory lane and maybe claim his second NEXXTCAR championship. He won the first ever Cup Series championship. Now looking for that Truck Series championship. But hey, the lights are off on that Chevy Silverado Pace truck. It is time to go back racing this time, folks. 18 laps to go this time. All right, I'm not exactly sure why it's showing Don Francisco's on pit road. So let's go ahead and just see if we can't reload everything here. There we go. All right. Under your fifth caution tonight, getting ready to go back racing this time. 18 laps to go. Don Francisco's going to be looking to get a big start. Bocock's going to be looking to get a good push from his teammate. Green flag's going to be back in the air here at Talladega. Avar spins the tires big time. You saw him weaving back and forth, trying to get traction. Bocock does not get a good push. Here he comes right back on that outside line now. Matthew Tucker, third truck on that outside. Make that now the fourth truck as Don Francisco immediately jumps up to that outside line. Now Steve all over the back bumper, the 48, Alberto all by himself on that inside line. But here comes help from the 22 of Zachary Brooks. Brooks, big save. He's going to hook Alberto. I thought he was going to hook him. Now, here comes Bloodworth to the inside, leading that inside charge. 3 wide, heading into turn number 3. Christopher Thomas slips up. David Smith's up into the outside wall. They all keep it going straight, but that's going to cost David Smith a ton of track position. Now Tibbetts coming right back on that outside. Tibbetts trying to get back to where he started this race, out front. 17 to go this time. Tibbetts leads them back to the line. Now, almost going to be 4 wide. I thought Bloodworth was going to think about it, get to the inside of Steve, but backs up. Let Steve drop down in front of him. Now, teammates bumper to bumper once again on that inside line. Now, Christopher Thomas drops it down in front of Steve. Steve not giving him the position. He's going to go for it anyway. That's going to get tight down the backstretch. All this in a back rearview mirror of Don Francisco. Now, they jump down in front of Don Francisco. Tibbetts and Tucker both. Tulloch trying to get that outside line working. Maybe, probably a couple people a little scared to go up there with them. After seeing what exactly happened, Zachary Brooks is going to lose it into the trial. Well, they're going to cause a caution here on lap 17 to go. Your 6th caution of the night here at Talladega. Zachary Brooks involved in this one in the 22. Let's back it up and see exactly what happened to Zachary Brooks there. You saw him get a little sideways. Once again, not sure. A little bit of a push gone wrong. He had David Chandler, one of the most aggressive guys in the league, behind him. Did that lead into this one? You saw those two make a little bit of contact, and then I think that's where it all started. He lifted, and David did not. Keep an eye on that 22 right there. He goes with Dunford. And then David just, I don't know. He barely made any contact. That was weird. You know, David didn't go up. Zach didn't really come down. I don't know. Maybe a little bit of net code played a factor right there for sure. But either way, we are under caution for the 6th time tonight, and look who is leading them under caution, Dylan Tibbetts. He started the race out front, and right now, with coming to 15 to go this time, finds himself out front once again. But folks, hopefully, maybe, I doubt it, for the last time, we're going to step away here and get a quick intermission. And I got to drink some water because I got a feeling things are going to get crazy here in the closing laps at Talladega. So don't go anywhere because this is brewing to be a wild finish here tonight. folks, side by side once again here tonight. Are we done crashing? Do only the drivers know the answer to that one? Getting ready to go back racing with 13 laps to go here at Talladega in the NEXXTCAR Truck Series here for the second to last race here of Season 3. 13 laps to go. What could possibly go wrong? 17 drivers on a lead lap. Well, that is definitely the recipe for some great racing here to close it out. Right now, Tibbetts and Tucker making up the front row. Thomas and Don Francisco, row 2. Bocock, Dunford, 3rd row. Bloodworth, Tulloch, 4th row. Chandler, Abar, 5th row. These drivers know what's at stake. 13 laps dwindling down here. These drivers, this is about to get intense here at the 2.66 mile track of Talladega Superspeedway. This is what this track was built for. They wanted some of the best racing they would get. Well, these drivers have definitely provided some great racing tonight. It ain't over yet. 13 laps. That is a long way to go in super speedway racing. But now, the pace truck hooking that hard left onto pit road. These drivers better make sure them TVs are strapped down tight because they're about to go for a wild ride here at 13 laps to go. Tibbetts going to be leading the field. Back to the green flag here this time. 13 to go. What could possibly go wrong? Green flag's back in the air here at Talladega. The 45 is going to get a great launch. He's going to drop down. That's going to be interesting to see. How does Matthew Erickson rule that? Was that a lane change before the start-finish line? How does he rule that for the 45? But as it stands right now, Dylan Tibbetts is going to be leading the field back through turns 1 and 2 in front of Tucker. Now, here comes Thomas on that outside line. Don Francisco jumps up in front of him. Don Francisco trying to side draft off of Tucker as much as he can here. Try to pull himself even with the leaders, and he will. Tulloch laying back on that outside line. What is he going to be able to do? He should have a pretty big run out of turn number 4. Is he going to be able to get to the outside? Bocock, his teammate, has 3 of his teammates lined up behind him. What do? Obviously, teammates are going to work together until that white flag drops, and then there are no teammates. It is game on, but hey, they still have 11 laps left to figure that out. But right now, side by side for the first 7 rows here in this one. Thomas is going to get turned halfway down the backstretch. Steve Bocock involved. Same with Payne Tulloch. Major implications for 2 of your top guys tonight. Zachary Brooks involved once again, as well as Payne Tulloch is going to go from the outside wall all the way down to the inside wall. And we are under caution for the 7th time tonight. Well, let's see what exactly transpired with this one. The 12 goes to the outside of the 5, and then the 5 tries to come back up in front of him a little bit, just as the 12 tried to jump back down behind him. So you can see the 12 coming off of turn number 2. Right here, he's going to go to the outside of the 5. But maybe did not get the run he thought he was going to. Tried to jump back in behind Thomas. At the same time, Thomas is coming back up the track. I don't know if Steve really came down all that much. Thomas really kind of came up there and then just along for the ride. The 12, 17, 51, Alberto. Is he going to sneak through? Oh, it's going to close up on him. I thought he was going to be able to sneak through the middle, but is not. But once again, Steve Bocock has one of the trucks out there to beat, but now There we go. Sorry about that. It wasn't working there for a second. But Bocock, he's got a lot of damage on that 12. You can see the left front wheel well ripped off. Definitely not the race that he's going to want to have here in that 12. Once again, a truck that is capable of winning. You can see that thing's crab walking down the pit lane. Once again, a truck capable of winning at a super speedway. Well, now. All right, he did have a fast repair, so that is going to get the 12 fixed and good to go. You saw the 5 get one as well, so both of those guys are going to be good to go. And all the meanwhile, Dylan Tibbetts continues to lead the way here at Talladega. 10 laps to go. The lights still on that Chevy Silverado pace truck. Dylan Tibbetts, he has definitely had a heck of a race here tonight. Can he get this thing finished where he started? Out front, grabbing his first pole ever in NEXXTCAR. Will he be able to get his first win ever in NEXXTCAR? Well, 10 laps to go. Probably going to be 8 laps to go when we go back racing. And there's still a lot of racing left in this one. Tibbetts, Don Francisco, Tucker, Dunford, and J.D. Larson wrapping out your top 5. Your top 9 drivers all pitted on lap 70, so fuel, not an issue. The lights should be going off on that iRacing pace truck this time by. There it is. The lights are off. Going back racing with 8 laps to go. What could possibly go wrong? You can see Thomas back up there with the field. Cole Owens not going to have the finish to this race that he wanted. He is still on pit road. Now, getting ready to leave pit road. He should still be on the lead lap, and he is. So Owens going to be looking to pick up a couple good spots here. Camden Jester, he's going to come off pit road. He's going to still be on the lead lap. So right now, Stephen Henning, the only one 2 laps down, but halfway down the backstretch in the field, side by side. Tibbetts and Don Francisco are going to make up your front row with Tucker Dunford behind them. And then the 2 Larsons make up the 3rd row. Tucker, we've seen how aggressive he can be at super speedways. Atlanta, especially last year, super aggressive. What is he going to do? Tibbetts better have himself a good grip on that wheel because it's about to go for a ride. So you better make sure he's got a good solid grip on that wheel. Dunford, we've not really seen Dunford in this position lately where he's had a shot to win, but yet try to help a friend to victory lane. Don Francisco, definitely a good friend of his. Dunford, what is he going to be able to do? Is he going to stick with him? Does he make something else happen? Then you got your 2 Larsons back there in the 3rd row. Those 2 have been working together all race long. Now lining up side by side with the pace truck making the left. That is going to hand the control of the field to the driver of the 45 of Dylan Tibbetts with Matt Tucker behind him versus Don Francisco and Dunford. Green flag is going to be back out in the air here with 8 laps to go at Talladega. That inside line, much better organized versus that outside line. Emos dropping way out of the leader's way. That outside line, well organized on that restart. Here comes Alberto Eibar with the help from, excuse me, Swaying back and forth. J.D. Larson, that's going to allow that outside line to get a big momentum run. Bolander goes up to the outside. Here comes Chandler now behind Alberto Abar pushing on to 13. JD's going to push up a little bit there on the entrance into turns 1 and 2. Now dead even through turns 3 and 4. Steve Bocock trying to make a rebound, trying to get to the outside. Now, Tibbetts trying to lead them back to 7 to go this time, but here comes Don Francisco with the big push from Dunford. Dead even at the line, is going to go to the way of Tibbetts. 7 to go. Tibbetts with the big push from Tucker, who's getting the big push from J.D. Larson. The front two going to clear the outside line, but here they come right back at him. Don Francisco with the big push. He's now trying to get to the outside of Tucker. He's going to, but here comes Steve Bocock trying to form that third lane. He's going to have the help from 2 of his teammates. The fourth one, Alberto, being pinned down on that inside line, not going to be able to get up there and help him. But now contact between Bolander and Bocock. They keep it going straight. Probably a side draft a little too close right there. They're going to keep it going straight down the backstretch. Now Steve goes back to the inside, tries to build up the momentum. Zachary Brooks is going to get turned by David Smith. We stay green. We do not. Caution's out with 6 laps to go. Zachary Brooks, just like Iowa, the last couple laps are not going to go his way here in that number 22. Let's see what exactly happened here. Yes, he just drifted up right there just as Smith got to the left of his, the left rear of his bumper. And once again, you just got to be careful when you're going to bump draft somebody. If you're not lined up perfectly, well, that's going to take them around. And that's exactly what you just saw right there. Keep an eye on that Green Hunt Brothers Ford. Right there. Just obviously not lined up at all. And right around goes Zachary Brooks. But we are under caution for the 8th time tonight. Dylan Tibbetts is perfectly fine with watching these laps tick down without having to race, because as long as they tick down and he's out front, well, he's going to continue leading the way here at Talladega with Tucker, J.D. Larson, Don Francisco, and Alberto Abar working his way up inside the top 5 in that number 13 Toyota. And Brandon Dunford, like I mentioned, we have not seen him the last couple of weeks, but he's able to make his return. And here he is up here in the 6th position with a solid place, and he could potentially get himself to victory lane. David Chandler, your current points leader here in the playoffs, a 3-race shootout for the championship. Now finding himself in 7th place here at Talladega with a solid place once again to find himself head into victory lane. And Steve Bocock back here in the 9th position behind Cole Larson right in front of him, with Christopher Thomas rounding out your top 10 in 5th. But Dylan Tibbetts grabbing his first pole ever. Can he back it up with his first win ever? Stay tuned, because that answer is coming up next here at Talladega with the NEXXTCAR Truck Series. Don't go anywhere, because things are about to get interesting.
I feel so high, I feel so lifted. By my side is where you're sitting. In my life is where you fit in, yeah. I never thought that I would get this far. I wanna drive around in the nice cars. I wanna forget about my scars and just have a good night. I smoke something down, I drink something down. I'm feeling it now, I'm feeling it now. I could say it out loud. When I see you, my heart goes down, 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 down. I could say it out loud. Down, 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 say it out loud. Say it out loud. I could say it out loud.
Everything you do, I can't seem to get enough. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Girl, you got me shook from the way your body looks. Got me riding hooks, got me feeling like a rook. I don't do it by the book, but for you I'll take a look. Don't know what your mama took, sweet and spicy like a cook, yeah. I'll keep it real, let's make a deal. Buy you a meal if you just let me feel. Get out your heels, grab on the wheel. Back to my place at the top of the hill. Don't have regrets, I know what's next. She need a fresh, I'll be back in a sec. Look at them legs, don't make me beg. Back to the room, let me show you my bed. Yeah, your body feels like taking on a drug. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Everything you
All right, well, as you can see, iRacing is just frozen, so we're going to have to step away here for a quick break. Don't go anywhere because we will be right back here in a second. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back to hopefully bring you the end of it.
To the top, here I go, think I'm chosen to be the king of rock, think the people have spoken. I can hear the tick-tock of the clock, I'm in motion. So now I'm gonna pop, causing all this commotion. Yeah, sometimes I think that I'm unstoppable. Yeah, ready to go, man, lock and load. That's right, I swear to God that I could drop you, bro. Yeah, I got a shot and I ain't stopping, no. That's how I know that I'm unstoppable. That's how I know that I'm unstoppable. Yeah, let's go. I don't care what they all say. That's right, I'ma do this thing my way. Let's go. Been grinding hard on it all day. Okay, we work hard, then we all play. Yeah, I'm addicted to the grind, man.
All right, folks, I apologize for that. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but we are going back racing here. 3 laps to go at Talladega. We are unfrozen. Let's get back to the action. Dylan Tibbetts still holding strong out front with Matthew Tucker and J.D. Larson behind him. Now, Don Francisco trying to lead Dunford around that outside line. Coming to 2 laps to go this time. 3 wide. That's going to get tight around. It's going to go Alberto Abar. He's going to get the short end of the stick on that one. He's going to keep it going straight. We're going to stay green, but definitely not what you want to see if you're a fan of that 13. But back out front, 3 wide still. Tucker's going to get almost turned there in front of the field. He's going to keep it going straight side by side, getting a big push from Don Francisco to 48. Now Tibbetts still trying to hold on that inside. Tucker trying to use the big push from Don Francisco to his advantage. A lap and a half left here at Talladega. Bocock, big pushes to the back of the 5. Now here comes Tibbetts right back at him on that inside line. They're going to get turned out back. Bloodworth goes around. Dunford goes around. So does Steve Bocock. Caution's going to fly before we get back to the white flag. We are going NEXXTCAR overtime racing here tonight. Let's back it up and see exactly what happened here in this one. You saw it right around the 5 of Christopher Thomas. Right there, a push gone wrong from Steve Bocock. Watch that 12 not lined up at all with the back bumper of Christopher Thomas. Right. Oh, wrong button. Sorry about that. All right. So right there, right there, just not center when he does it, and right around goes the field. But we are going NEXXTCAR overtime racing here at Talladega. But out front, someone new, Matt Tucker, had just cleared the 45 of Tibbetts, and these guys are going overtime racing. This is going to be interesting. What do these drivers have here for each other at the end of this one? The top 5 all pitted on lap 70. They're still good on fuel, but a bunch of other guys coming down, topping off, maybe getting a faster pair, get a brand new truck to go battle for the win here in overtime. But Tucker, Tibbetts, Don Francisco, J.D. Larson, and David Chandler are going to round out your top 5. Bloodworth, Emos, Cole Larson, rounding out your top 8. Everybody else on pit road. Stephen Henning going to get his lap back. That'll put him back on the lead lap now. Well, Matt Tucker, a name that we have not mentioned much at all tonight. Now in the closing laps of this one, finding himself running out front here, maybe trying to find his way to victory lane, trying to find his way maybe to a second championship. Tibbetts looking for his first win ever. Don Francisco looking to add another one to the win list. Larson, J.D. Larson, looking for his first win. David Chandler looking to get back to victory lane once again after a very long dry spell. Bloodworth looking for his first win. Emos, same with him. He's looking for his first win in a number 98 Acme Chevy. And then right behind them, Andrew Bolander. It's been a little while since he's been to victory lane. Can he try to get back up there tonight? And then Cole Larson, same boat as his father, looking to try to get to victory lane for the first time. Then Camden Jester is going to be rounding out your top 10. But you can see Steve Bocock sitting on pit road right now, trying to get some damage fixed in the 12. Same with the 5 of Christopher Thomas. David Smith involved in that one as well with Zachary Brooks. All 4 of those guys sitting on pit road make that all 5. Is a 17 of Tulloch and a 9 of Dunford. Tulloch's going to get it going. So does Steve. So does Sheep. So all 3 of those guys are going to be able to get them fired up and get back out there in the closing laps here at Talladega. But we are going overtime racing this time. The lights are not going off. Yes, they are. All right. Going back racing next time. Your front row, Tucker, Tibbetts, Don Francisco Larson, second. Chandler and Bloodworth, third row. Emos Bolander, fourth row, with Jester and Cole Larson rounding out your top 10 in your fifth row. Well, folks, things are amping up here this time. Overtime attempt number 1 here in the NEXXTCAR Truck Series here at Talladega. Maybe we can get back to see the white flag this time. Don Francisco was just running in the 3rd position. Major implications for your... Oh, he's back. Okay. I saw his, him fall way down the ticker all the way back to 11th, and I thought maybe he blew an engine or something, but that 48 truck maybe having the same issues we just had where it froze. Who knows? That's the problem with sim racing. You got to rely on a lot of things to work properly for it to run smoothly. 99% of the time it does, but apparently it wanted to not work properly there with the restart with 5 to go. But hey, let's put that behind us, just like these drivers need to put everything that has happened this race behind them, because we are going overtime racing here at Talladega. Talladega Superspeedway was created because they wanted the best racing in NASCAR. Well, tonight has been some very good racing. Can these drivers end it off properly? Tucker, Tibbetts, two ends of the spectrum here when it comes to the NEXXTCAR Racing League. Tucker, a past Cup Series champion. Tibbetts looking for that first win. Well, they're about to see the green flag drop here as they enter the Geico restart zone. The 25 of Matthew Tucker has the control of the field in his hands. Down into the Geico restart zone we go. Green flag's going to be back in the air here at Talladega. Both lanes, a great restart. Tibbetts holding his own on the outside. That's the best restart we have seen. The guy restarting in second get to the outside. Tibbetts is going to clear Tucker, drops down in front of him. Here comes J.D. Larson with the push from Bloodworth and Bolander. Now Tibbetts leading the field down the backstretch, but here comes that outside with the drag race. Tibbetts getting pushed by Tucker. Now, Don Francisco look to maybe go through the middle. Here comes Jimmy Emos in the 98. Bloodworth to the outside of J.D. Larson. That's just going to help that inside line. Dylan Tibbetts coming out of turn number 4. Don Francisco looking to the outside. Tuck's going to throw a block on him. Now, are we going to see the white flag? 3 wide out back. Yes, we will. White flag waves here at Talladega. Final lap. 2.66 miles to settle it all here at Talladega. 33-degree banking. These drivers are going to use every inch of this track, every degree of those turns. Now, David Chandler trying to work his way through the middle, trying to push Don Francisco. Jimmy Emos coming on that inside, up the fourth truck on that inside line. Now, Dylan Tibbetts trying to use the big pushes from Tucker to his advantage. Now they're going to clear the outside line at Don Francisco. Bloodworth falling back. Dylan Tibbetts grabbed his first ever pull in the NEXXTCAR Racing League for himself as they're going to wreck out back. But Dylan Tibbetts is going to keep the pedal to the metal. Here comes Tucker trying to slingshot. Is he going to get it? No, he's not. Dylan Tibbetts is going to get his first ever win in the NEXXTCAR Racing League. The 45 of Dylan Tibbetts is going to find his way to victory lane for the first time ever. From the pole to victory lane for that number 45 Toyota Tundra. Unbelievable performance for that 45. He had to overcome a lot of things tonight. He got himself involved in a couple incidents, but man, able to rebound and bring it home, heading to victory lane for the first time in his NEXXTCAR racing career. And who better than to have a couple of buddies behind him? Bolander. And then he saw Tucker. Tucker pushed him to the win, but yet jumped to the outside to try to make an epic move to get the win. Now, Tibbetts gets to burn it down here in Alabama. Bolander and Tibbetts burning it down at the start-finish line here at Talladega. Two best friends enjoying a little celebration together, as they definitely earned the right to, because that was one heck of a finish here to end what was a pretty crazy race here at Talladega. Let's go ahead and get your race results up for tonight's race. 90 laps here at Talladega. And man, who would have thought Dylan Tibbetts getting that first win ever with Matthew Tucker in second, Andrew Bolander third, Nicholas Don Francisco in fourth, with Cole Larson rounding out your top 5. Steve Bocock rounding out in 6th with Peyton Tullock in 7th. Camden Jester rebounding to 8th with Stephen Henning in 9th, and Dustin Bloodworth rounding out your top 10 with Cole Owens in 11th, Christopher Thomas in 12th, David Chandler in 13th, Jimmy Emos 14th, JD Larson 15th, David Smith 16th, Zachary Brooks 17th, Brandon Dunford 18th, and Alberto Abar gonna round out the field in 19th. But folks, let's jump into don't go anywhere, because these are going to be some pretty crazy post-race interviews. So don't go anywhere, folks, because we are going to be right back to bring them to you here from Talladega. Don't go anywhere, because these are going to be good.
My way. Let's go. Been grinding hard on it all day. Okay. We work hard, then we all play. Yeah. I'm addicted to the grind, man. That's right. So I refuse to waste time, man. Yeah. One day it all will be fine, man. Let's go. Gotta commit to the climb. You know we're back with the Guinness, setting records every minute, every track. In addiction to the fact that we're winning, still we lack something's missing. Need a track that is hitting, making racks, making millions.
Oh, yeah.
If you ask, that's a mission. I don't waste time, no, I make time. All these people wanna hate, fine, I'ma make mine. While you sitting there complaining, I'll be training. While you sitting there just waiting, I'm creating. Yeah. Sometimes I think that I'm unstoppable. Yeah. Ready to go, man, lock and load. That's right. I swear to God that I can drop you, bro. Yeah. I got a shot and I ain't stopping, no. That's how I know that I'm unstoppable. That's how I know that I'm unstoppable. Yeah. Everybody knows that I'm breaking down. Everybody knows I ain't faking now. Everybody knows my heart's vacant now. Yeah, she hates me now, I made mistakes but now I don't ever wanna be alone. I don't really ever feel at home. On my own, in the zone, that's the only way I know. Feeling low, about to blow back up. Here I won't ever let the doubt creep in. Gotta pop a couple more aspirin. I don't think I'll ever let you in. Easier to break it off best friends. I don't really understand myself. I don't really understand, need help. I don't wanna be left on the shelf. Couldn't even hear me if I yelled. It's so cold outside. I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside. I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside. I'm alone, it's so cold outside. Break down, always feel like I could break now, but I never let it take me to that place now. I won't ever let my thoughts get away now. I got better things to do, picking fate now. I just wanna be the best.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the post-race interviews here from Talladega Super Speedway. Dylan Tibbetts, man, what a race, a first for you tonight. Your first ever pull in the NEXXTCAR Racing League, and now your first ever win.
Yeah, and first ever league win on iRacing, so that's pretty cool. At a track I think everybody enjoys. Pretty good racing all night. We had a good time. Me and Tuck worked together well there at the end when we got hooked up, and kept trying to make sure we would keep each other intact there on these restarts because there was a handful of them right there towards the end. And well, it worked out. Mo Powell, baby.
Absolutely, you mentioned it. You know, this was a good race. This might be just one of the best super speedway races we have ever had in the league. And man, I tried to talk to you there in pre-race, and you know, I was going to ask you. You know, that was the easy part of grabbing the pole. You're on the track all by yourself. What were you going to do to park in victory lane at the end of this thing? Well, how were you able to do it?
Well, I mean, starting up front, you just I like personally to lead a line. That's why you'd see me try to jump to the very outside if I would get shuffled back. I try to jump to the very top. I knew I'd have a couple guys that like to do that as well that were in that race. So, and I've done a lot of laps, not just on iRacing, but on other games in the past, and I did a lot of super speedway racing. So you just kind of being part time and not really being on a team. You just kind of try to work with your buds, and that's pretty much what the agenda was the whole race.
Absolutely. Well, it worked out for you. And for 2 weeks in a row, non-playoff drivers have played spoiler in the playoffs tonight for the championship. So congrats on that first pole, and bigger congrats on that first win, man. Definitely deserved it.
Appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir. Moving on to your second place finisher, Matt Tucker. What's going on, buddy?
How's it going, Ronnie? I mean, that was pretty exciting. Probably from your perspective too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that was a fantastic race. You know, at the beginning, it looked like it was going to be a little rough. We were on the typical path of NEXXTCAR with super speedway racing, and then, you guys did the typical truck series thing and turned it around somehow. But yeah, very exciting race. Absolutely. Love to see, guys trying to get that third lane to work, and a lot of 3 wide action tonight.
Yeah, you didn't really see a lot of me and Andrew and Cam and Cole the whole time. Our plan was just right around the back to the last stage, or the last pit stop at least. So, but from our windshield, from our point of view, it looked pretty hectic for those 3 wide racing basically the whole middle stint of the race. But at the end, it was pretty fun trying to get those lanes working, and then missed that one big wreck, and then me and Dylan found our way up to the lead, and we stayed up there. So it was planned, executed, probably I'd say to perfection.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything was planned to perfection. That move out, though, did you think you were going to get them coming to the checkered?
Tried. I mean, I only made the move in case I felt like one of us would win, because I felt like we had a decent side enough lead on Andrew, and Andrew looks like got the Dylan's back bumper right at that exit of the tri-oval. So, but no, that was pretty good. It was a 3 wide battle for second between me and Andrew and Napa. So it was pretty good going into the last week of season 3. So we're trying to go get it done at Phoenix.
Absolutely, buddy. Well, congrats on that second place finish.
Yep. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Moving on to your third place finisher, Andrew Bolander. What's going on, buddy?
What's going on, Ryan?
Not much. And now that I'm looking at the interval, you and Tuck actually tied if you look at the interval of tonight's race. So fantastic race for you guys. Yeah, you guys both got a .068. So you guys exactly tied, but it gave it to Tucker. But Andrew, man, that race started a little rough for you early, going 2 laps down.
Don't question my plate skills, dude. I won that damn lap lead.
He can thank me for the third place. I hope you get those laps back.
He radio on like, I hope you get your lap back. I'm like, all right, let's go. And somehow we got it all the way up there, and they all died behind me at the line. So I'm like, well, that works. And I got lucky dog as soon as that caution happened. I got 2 for 1 there.
Hey, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Yeah, starting back and just Like, you guys been staying in the back the whole time, so I probably wouldn't have led a lap. So that's why I did that. And then got ass back by the 48 and turned myself, and then he turned me in the wall. That wasn't too good. So I mean, all in all, it worked out. Could have put Tuck into one last lap though.
I mean, I cannot agree nor deny, but yeah, absolutely. Great racing all the way around. Like you said, you got that one lap. So how do you feel about next week at Phoenix?
Well, I'll say the same answer that I gave you like the last 5 weeks, and we'll find out next week.
All right, buddy. Well, congrats on that third place finish.
Thank you.
Yep. Moving on to your fourth place finisher, Nicholas Don Francisco. Maybe the best truck in the field all night long. What's going on, man?
Doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing great. You had that 48 cooking and booking and slicing and dicing its way through that field tonight. Led a race high of 22 laps tonight.
Nice. Yeah, that truck was pretty fast. I just needed it, I think, a little bit more at the end to have some for 45. Everybody else up there.
Yeah, absolutely. You found yourself involved in an incident about the halfway point of the race and able to rebound, man. That, like I said, you had a fantastic truck. And what was your strategy heading into tonight's race? I mean, starting ninth, that's not exactly where you want to start, right there in the mid pack.
I didn't really have a strategy. I just try to get up front, stay up there, and stay out of trouble, keep the nose clean. And I did that for a majority of the race. And yeah, I can't say enough about the truck. The truck was just phenomenal.
Absolutely, man. Well, congrats on that fourth place finish after the way that last couple of laps went. That's got to feel pretty good.
Well, I just want to apologize to the Ford truck because I did not mean to turn him in that one time in the back straight.
Napa racing fan.
Yeah, you know it.
Moving on to your fifth place finisher, Cole Larson. What's going on, man?
What's going on, Ronnie?
Not much. You had a pretty solid race. Started fourth and finishing fifth. It don't get much better than that for you.
Yeah, well, yeah, my strategy going into this race was to stay up front, and did that most of the race and got wrecked. I was in one of those late race wrecks and was able to get back up there. So
Absolutely. You and your dad must have had a strategy planned out perfectly because I'm pretty sure about 87% of this race, you guys were bumper to bumper tonight.
yeah, my whole team, we were just all trying to get together and just lead the whole race, and it worked.
Absolutely. Well, congrats on that top five.
Yep, thank you.
Yep. Moving on to your sixth place finisher, Steve Bocock. Man, another one just slipping through the fingers tonight.
Yeah, I was pretty aggressive tonight. I normally try to play these tracks pretty well, but I always end up not finishing well, so I just threw it. I mean, I know you were talking about early in the race. I was doing a lot of that 3 wide. I figured it'd give you something to talk about.
Oh, absolutely. You, excuse me, Dustin Bloodworth tried it several times. Peyton joined you there for a little bit. So, yeah, it was great to see, you guys trying that high line, instead of just riding around for 87 of 90 laps.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that bottom line, it was garbage. If you got 3 or 4 trucks up top, that bottom line just couldn't keep up. You were running half throttle while we were on the track. I couldn't take it anymore, so I had to get out there and run. And I got up to the lead and led a little bit, and I hit old Christopher there. I just timed to push wrong. We had talked earlier in the week that one of us needed to win this race, so one of us was just going to keep shoving until it happened, and I just shoved him a little bit too hard. So, but that big rake at the end, I just drove right through it up to 6, so I'll take it.
Absolutely. Definitely up and down race for you, but like you said, 6th place, you will take it. So good job on that one.
All right, man. Thanks.
Yep. And then the last guy tonight, just because I want to figure out what exactly happened there while on that third lane, Peyton, what exactly happened?
Yeah, I just, I had a really good truck tonight, and all race I was just wanting to be the leader of that lane so bad. I wanted to get after getting the yo at the beginning of the race. I just wanted to get control of this race. I knew I was probably one of the best trucks at leading a lane, and never could get there. And every time I tried, it just seemed like something went wrong. And I tried to push Dylan as hard as I could to the point where I'd keep getting warnings and warnings, and like I would lift out the, cool off the truck and stuff, then get back to it. But that time it just warned me and instantly blew up. So I guess that's just me not knowing how far I can push and whatever. But we tried to make it work.
Absolutely. But hey, good rebound up to 7th.
Yeah, thanks. Shout out to Steve Henning. I gotta thank him because on that last lap, like if I finish 12th, I'm probably not gonna have a shot next week at Phoenix. He pushed me, and I'd sliced and diced through that last wreck and got 7th. So we're still alive, and that's all I wanted to ask for, leaving Dega as a chance.
Absolutely. But what a race we just saw here at Talladega Super Speedway. 94 laps of pure insanity. But hey, at the end, it's Dylan Tibbetts walking away with that very first win ever after getting his very first pull. What is going to happen next week when we get to crown our Season 3 champion of the Truck Series at Phoenix? It's going to get insane. That's going to be a race you don't want to miss. So go ahead and tune in next week. But tomorrow night, the Next Gen Cup cars get to do it all over again right here at Talladega. So it's going to be a good one. Hopefully we can put on a show just like the Truck Series did tonight. But folks, that is going to do it here for the NEXXTCAR Racing League here on iRacing from Talladega Super Speedway for the NEXXTCAR Truck Series. I hope you guys enjoyed the race. It was probably the best Super Speedway race we have seen in the league to now. So hopefully this is the start of turning things around when it comes to super speedway racing for the league. But I will catch you guys tomorrow night. Enjoy the rest of your week.